Patrick here, and I don't even know where to start. This is an extremely long story, but bear with me. There is a rather amazing twist, a happy ending, so here we go. First of all, these is some old footage that I recorded a long time ago, actually with an older camera that I had, and as you can see, there is a large 27-inch Mac, basically it's an iMac, right? And it is from about 2012. So a family friend of mine requested that I have a look at this computer that wouldn't turn on. And you might be asking yourself, why am I voicing over this section, and then there's some other sections in there, but we'll get to that in a second. So I wanted to make a video about myself actually repairing this. The whole computer wouldn't turn off, and because an iMac basically cannot be taken apart by screws, you have to unstick the screen, and this is what this video was. I was basically ungluing the screen from the edges, and I wanted to go through and show you step by step how to do it, and how it worked out really well, and I managed to fix it all because the computer wouldn't turn on. And first of all, I started by obviously testing out the cable, potentially using different power boards, and nothing was able to happen. So more Googling led to basically this point in time where I was told that the only way to really fix it is first of all take that screen off, look for 4 LEDs on the power supply that would tell you, actually it's on the motherboard near the power supply, that would be able to tell you what's wrong. Is there power going to the power board, basically to the power, this PSU, because yes, in this really small thing there is a PSU, or if there's power going to a CPU and it's not basically booting up, or there's power going to the graphics card and it's not booting up. There's 4 of these levels. If all 4 are lit up, it should definitely start working. So that was my first step here, to take off this screen. Now, I've had some experience with taking screens off in the past, nothing as complicated as this, not in the sense of actually being hard, but just being extremely careful because of the large screen. So I decided to do it on the floor, and as you can see that this was ages ago, because that background, that little wall now is just back to normal, being flat white. In any case, I managed to take it off. I managed to order another power supply from eBay for about $109. It was because it was ripped out of another iMac that maybe had something else wrong with it, but that power supply was working. I matched up the actual numbers, the serial numbers, the model, everything was guccio. It was all good. And unfortunately, I guess this is where the story takes a weird twist. It booted up. It booted up into the actual screen, well, basically the desktop, and I was happy Larry. I was thrilled. I was like, look at that. Apple quoted $900 to fix this iMac, and I managed to fix it for $100. I was very proud of myself. I was very happy. I was going to make a video about this success, and basically it was just going to be one of those fingers you show to Apple and say, ha, there you go, I cheated the system. But half an hour later, that screen turned off, and I was not able to turn the computer back on. In fact, I put the screen back on, I glued it back on, thinking it was all good, and it just wouldn't turn on again. And I was kind of up in arms, and that's why it's taken this long. I was pretty annoyed. First of all, spent some money to try and repair it. That didn't work. And then obviously spent the time gluing it, taking it apart, and then so on. So I unglued the screen again, and I went through and tried to diagnose the problem again, because I knew this power supply that I had put into the iMac is working, obviously from eBay. I mean, you have to trust it as much as you can. I said, well, hang on, let's start with actually trusting the eBay seller. This is a working power supply unit, PSU. As you can see in some of these videos, it's just there under the hard drive. And this is old iMac. It's got one of those big hard drives, the 3.5 inch hard drives. It's quite, it's quite old. So you don't expect, it's 5 years old, so you don't expect it to survive this long, but it should. It really should. There's nothing technically wrong with this product. In any case, I trusted that PSU was working, and there might be something else on the board. So what I did is I literally took the whole thing apart. I started messing about with the inside, screwing things, taking things apart, cleaning it from dust. This computer has always been running, never been turned off, and that's one of the sort of things that Apple Apple mentioned was this should have been turned off, but it wasn't. And unfortunately, it could have been the reason why it died. It might be, it might not be. We really won't know. In any case, I had to give up. So I had all this footage of the iMac being taken apart, then talking about it. And actually, I had a video of me turning it on and celebrating, and then it dying again. And I just, man, I was so upset. So as time went on, I had to put the screen back on. I put everything back in, so the new power supply, not the old one obviously, and I put it all back in. I didn't get any new stickers to glue the whole screen back on because, well, what's the point, right? It's not working. And so I left it for about a week. The family friends, I let them know that it's not working, you know, unfortunately, very sorry. And, you know, they took a while to pick it up. Nobody was in a hurry. It was just sitting on the floor in a spare room. And then, you know, I got really bored one Saturday morning, and I went out and I was like, you know what happened? I wonder what happened if I turned it on. And lo and behold, it turned on again for about 20 minutes, and then it went off. And I just thought to myself, something is still not quite right. So I started diagnosing it again, took that screen off. Obviously it wasn't glued. I started putting high pressure air through the whole system. I did everything imaginable. Now, again, this is one of the comments I actually heard in my video when I was talking about. I said, if this was a Windows computer, I would have fixed this in 10 minutes. Unfortunately, it's a Mac. It's a whole bunch of other problems. And Googling it around, I thought that the problem was the actual motherboard or the graphics card had burnt out. So I tried to clean it as much as I can, high pressure air, taking it apart again, putting it back together. And I said, no, that just nothing I did fixed the issue of it turning on for a bit and then turning off, you know, going to that Apple logo and then dying again. So the folks came back, they picked up the computer and apologized, put a bit of tape on top, put a bit of tape on bottom just to hold the screen in place. They weren't going to do much with it. I wasn't going to do anything with it. The screen's probably worth the most because that screen is a perfectly working 27-inch screen that you could probably replace onto another iMac that's working. Obviously, there's some other parts that might be working on this iMac that could be sold for parts. So about 2 weeks later, maybe 3 actually, I get a call back from the guys, and they said to me, look, we put it up and we plugged it in and we turned it on. And I said, okay, well, I'm sure it does turn on for about 10 minutes to 20 minutes to maybe half an hour. He says, yeah, that was 2 days ago. It's still working right now. And I just thought to myself, what happened in between the time of me handing over this iMac to the point of it actually working? Maybe something rattled in the car when it was driving, something happened. So in the end, yes, it's a happy ending. The computer, to my knowledge, right now is working. It's working for the family. They actually ended up buying a new one anyway because I said, look, it's a pretty old computer. It might not be able to fix it. So then, you know, went off to Apple and bought a new one because the cost of repair was almost as much as just buying another $1,200, $1,500 iMac. So whatever, they had another computer. This one was a hand-me-down to one of the other family members. So this computer right now, this iMac is fully working, and I have no idea what black magic had brought it back to life. And to this day, it is one of those things that will just stick with me. A great story to tell, and I wanted to share with you guys. Obviously, unfortunately, I don't have video of the whole process. I have what I have here and what I'm sharing, a very slow video, but I hope this story has sparked your interest in repairing computers, or maybe might lead you to repair your own iMac that's sitting somewhere in a cupboard that hasn't been touched for a while. Just give it a go. Maybe there's some sort of electronic system that's somewhere in your cupboards that could have life again, because stranger things have happened. Guys, thank you very much for joining me on this journey. A different video, I know, but it's still tech related. And like, subscribe, share, let me know what you think about iMacs. Particularly, I love the design. The design is beautiful, but for fixability or being able to fix it, it is horrible. Guys, thank you for joining me, and I'll catch you in another one.